I just got to hop on the ferry. I'm right here. It's great.
Yeah, great ferry ride.
Love the ferry.
Ferry's a great way to get around New York.
It's the best.
We'll talk about that later. Right now, we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler because every single day it feels like we talk about Jimmy. This whole scenario has held us hostage for 3 weeks. There is a new development. Jimmy Butler is back in Minnesota, and there are reports that he has said that he wants to be traded by Friday, which is kind of silly because we've already blown through 3 deadlines on this thing. So here's my question for you. He's in Minnesota. If he doesn't get traded, will we see him play preseason or regular season in a Timberwolves uniform?
Not preseason. I think there's a real chance in the regular season. Everything I've been told is that...
Ooh, I like this.
Everything I've been told is that he is not going to sit regular season games if he's healthy. Now, that leaves the door open for them to make up some fake injury.
But he's got the wrist thing, right? Right wrist.
And everyone has back soreness and whatever. You can make up something, but he wants the max next summer. And he's not going to get it if he plays 40 games or sits a season. He needs to prove he's healthy. He needs to prove... He doesn't need to prove he's still Jimmy Butler. He is still Jimmy Butler, but... Everything I've been told is if he's healthy, he wants to play regular season games. He does not want to sit them out.
So here's the thing where my mind goes. If he practices with the team and he's playing, let's just say that he doesn't do the wrist thing or the injury, and he's playing with the team, what does Karl Anthony Towns think about that?
I mean, the whole situation is just completely bizarre. If they're on opposite teams, does he foul him hard around the rim? Who knows what happens?
It's so weird because clearly Karl Anthony Towns is if you trade Jimmy Butler, I will sign this extension. And not until, and then they're we're definitely going to trade him. Don't worry, Carl, we're definitely going to trade him. He signs, and the next thing you know, they're on the same team.
I certainly think there is a faction of that team, and not just players. I'm talking about business side, front office people who are we just need to wash our hands of this. We just don't want the tension. The fans are going to boo him. They're already booing Tibbs. It's going to be super ugly. Then there are people like Jeff Teague, Todd Gibson, that dude's going to help us win games. I don't really care.
Thibodeau feels that way. He's hey, man, if he's here, we can win the games. Do you think Tom Thibodeau makes it through the season without getting fired?
I will say yes, and given that if they trade Butler, they'll probably miss the playoffs, the firing happens after that. I think that's the most likely scenario. It would not surprise me if this deal just blows up and the whole team just blows up. But I don't know who the successor is, if they have him on the bench, if they're prepared with a front office replacement. There's a lot of follow-up questions you got to ask.
That's good. It's good because it's one thing I always do is you got to fire that guy. And it's all right, well, then who do we replace him with? It's maybe we don't have to fire that guy.
Yeah, it's hard to bring in an outside guy in October who's not familiar with the culture, with the players. That's hard to do.
Of course. Well, there's a little bit of an update in the Jimmy Butler world. Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta, and he, there's a long piece written about him. It was excellent. He's got a great backstory, and he's the owner of the Rockets, and he seems pretty aggressive about it. And here's what he had to say about potentially bringing Jimmy Butler to Houston. He said, quote, "We've got a great basketball team. We think we're as good as anybody in the league. We're not going to give up unreasonable assets to break up this team to get Jimmy Butler, but we would love to have him."
That's great.
Everyone would love that. It's kind of like when Kawhi. It was Kawhi wants to be traded. It's well, this team is interested. Of course, he's one of the best 5 players in the league.
If we would take Jimmy Butler for nothing, that'd be great.
But there are some reasonable deals that have been rumored about. There was a rumor of a Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and maybe some picks put together. That seems pretty fair to me. Seems pretty fair.
I think the Rockets would really prefer not to give up Tucker, even over Gordon, given that Butler can replicate a lot of Gordon's scoring. Tucker, just what he does on defense.
Especially when they lose Mbamute and Ariza. Tucker and Mbamute and Ariza were part of the reasons they got so good on defense last year. And to take all of them away, you can kind of see them going back to that.
But the problem they're going to face is, Gordon is in the middle to the end of his prime, so he's not a guy that the Wolves can look at as this is a young building block for us. And their picks are going to be 28, 29, 30, and the Heat, that's a floor that the Heat and lots of other teams can beat easily. It's just a matter of are they doing it? And if the Heat are really going to put in Josh Richardson and a lightly protected pick or whatever they're protected, that beats it.
Josh Richardson, Justice Winslow, and a pick?
That beats it. The Heat pick has a chance to be an okay pick, depending on what the protections are. Josh Richardson's 25. He's getting better every year.
I like Josh Richardson a lot.
Big fan. I think he's the Heat's best all-around player. How about that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't think of a counter. Yeah, I like Josh.
It's kind of why the Heat ceiling is the Heat are going to hit their ceiling because they're the Heat, but it's right here and it's not going any higher.
It's also not good when you've got a lot of money tied up in 2 players that are not your best player.
Well, Dragic is close.
Of course. Whiteside's not close.
Whiteside was kind of a disaster last season.
Yes, he was. The Milwaukee Bucks. they have sold a team record 10,000 season ticket seats, which sounds like a lot to me. But they've got a new arena. There's a lot of excitement around the team.
It's not that much.
It's not. It sounds like a lot.
It's like industry standard. Like, we hope to hit that benchmark.
That's fair. So is that 40% of the arena? 33%?
No, more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many seats do they have there, you think?
I mean, what's the ballpark usually? 18, 20?
Yeah, 20,000. Yeah, it's a lot. Good for them. Is there reason for these fans to be hopeful this season?
Yeah, I'm high on the Bucks. First of all, they have if not the best player in the East, then it's him neck and neck with Kawhi Leonard. Prime healthy Kawhi Leonard, sure. Giannis and him, and you surround that dude with shooting. Bud is a great coach, an upgrade as a coach. I think they're going to be super exciting to watch. Everyone's jumping all over themselves because they put up 120 or whatever on the crappy Bulls in the one preseason game. But I think the Bucks are going to be good.
Explain to me how you see offense working differently under Bud than Prunty.
Well, I mean, there's just going to be 4 shooters around Giannis a lot more of the time. Brook Lopez is their starting center instead of, name who it was last year from John Henson to others. And if you put 4 shooters around Giannis, it doesn't have to be complicated. Like, just give him the ball, and whether he's a screener or a pick-and-roll guy, just give him the ball by himself. Like, he's going to find people. It's interesting because a lot of people are like, Giannis can't shoot. Well, guess what? Everybody else can. So we'll solve that problem with that. It matters a lot less that his jumper is shaky if he's the only one with a shaky jumper, because literally if dude is giving the ball 20 feet out and he's one spin move away from the basket, even if you're stepping back from him and daring him to shoot, he just drives at you, spins, and then you have to send help or he lays the ball up. So I think there's a clear top 3 in the East. Okay. You would put the Bucks at 4 knocking on the door? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, too. They'll all be hosting playoff series. I think they have a better chance than people think of going through that door. I also think that we're going to have a really good second round in the East. Oh, man, if those 4 all make it. We're going to have a really good second round of playoffs in the East. And one of the teams that we're not talking about being part of that top 4 in the East are the Washington Wizards. Now we've got. They're offended that we're not talking about them, and they will tell you talk about it. How offended they are. Something tells me you can point to some historical data that should suggest they shouldn't be so offended, but that will not change their opinion. But they haven't really changed the roster that much. They've added Dwight Howard, who's got some sort of a backside issue right now, but it doesn't seem to be that serious. How do you see them different this year than last year? I don't trust the Washington Wizards. I can't trust them. They've hurt me too many times. I don't trust them. I think their chemistry is going to be a problem. John Wall has to prove he's healthy and well-conditioned because last year was up and down. I think they're fine. I think on sheer talent, they should talent their way to 45 wins. Even if they all hate each other, even if Dwight's hurt, they should just on sheer talent be a 5, 6, 7 seed in the East. But I do think there's a downside where it all blows up, and they're like, oh, my God, they made the lottery? How did that happen? Really? I don't think that's where the floor is. Yeah, I think their floor is outside the playoffs for sure. So you see like the Pistons and the Hornets having a better record at the end of the season than the Wizards. I'm making too much of a big deal out of this, but I'm not holding. I will not pick that. I will pick Washington to make the playoffs because I think their talent is just too good. But I do think there is a world in which it just all explodes and they finish with 38 wins and miss the playoffs. A couple injuries and some weird chemistry stuff coming out, kind of like last year, except with the worst record. Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say everyone go read Zach's latest column. It's excellent. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Oh, it's always an honor. When we come back, we will be joined by WNBA star and current ESPN analyst Chiney Ogwumike. Big upgrade. About that. Big upgrade. Big upgrade. In the studio. Let's be honest. Yeah, it's true. You got to